In January 2021, an intimidating-looking 6'6" tall German enters the wolf's den. He's representing Birkenstock, a German company known for its rather boring-looking sandals. He's about to conclude a deal worth billions of dollars with the company of the richest person in the world, Arnault LVMH. Just a couple of years before that, Oliver Reichert says that he doesn't give a shit about fashion. Yet the man who looks like Conor McGregor if he was born in Germany went on to build a multi-billion-dollar global fashion brand that is about to receive investment by LVMH. Why did it first require an intimidating 6'6" tall giga-chad German to skyrocket a company that has been in existence for over 100 years already, even trying to do deals with the Nazis in the old days? What potential did the god of luxury Bernard Arnault see in the sandals? And could this be the investment opportunity of the century for retail investors? Johannes Birkenstock starts his craft near Frankfurt. He does what shoemakers of the time do. For almost 250 years, little happens in the Birkenstock story. Then, things suddenly take off. So let's skip forward a bit so that we can talk about business ASAP. One key invention ensures the company's survival today: the invention of spam emails to ruthlessly market Birkenstocks to the world. Just kidding. But seriously, I was sitting at my desk some days ago scripting this Birkenstock script and checked my email for potential sponsors we could include in the video. The crazy thing was that 90% of the sponsoring emails we received were spam, mostly from Polish emails for whatever reason. That sucks hard though, because I'm pretty sure I have missed a couple of legit sponsoring requests like this already. I know one of the reasons I get so many spam texts and calls is because big companies can't keep our data safe. Recently, AT&T revealed that nearly all their customers' call and text records had been exposed in a massive data breach. And it hasn't even been a few months since they admitted over 70 million of their users' social security numbers ended up on the dark web. The stolen logs also contain a record of every number AT&T customers called or texted. So even if you don't use AT&T, if someone who texted you did, then your number has been exposed. So what can you do to protect yourself? I use Aura, the sponsor of today's video. Aura will alert me if they find my phone number or any other sensitive information has been compromised. And brethren, they give me fast fraud alerts if anyone tries to use that data to access my credit or bank accounts. Aura does so much more to keep me and my friends and family safe too. I also get things like transaction monitoring, a VPN, antivirus, password manager, parental controls that I never need, and identity theft insurance. I get this all in one app at one affordable price. I can also get their AI-powered call assistant that will pick up unknown calls on my behalf to screen them for spam or scams. The AI forwards legitimate calls to me so I don't miss appointments, deliveries, and emergencies. And it protects me from harmful text messages by filtering out known spam numbers and scanning links in the message for phishing threats. To be honest, I never really cared about this, but the older I get, the more I realize I should not leave myself and my family vulnerable to data breaches. And if you don't want to either, you can go to aura.com/megalomedia and try your first 2 weeks for free. Also linked, of course, in the description below. Johannes Birkenstock's grandson, Konrad Birkenstock, brings the family name into prominence. Like his ancestors, he's a shoemaker. Making and repairing regular shoes is nice, but not really history book material. At the time, everyone wears similar looking, boring leather boots. Maybe like this, or whatever. The shoes back then look stylish but are not foot friendly. Misalignments are common and comfortable shoes are unheard of. Konrad realizes this and experiments with new ideas for more comfort and health. His solution, the Birkenstock footbed, is a kind of insole that adapts to the foot, making the whole shoe more ergonomic and healthier in the long run. But in rural Germany, no one cares about such an innovative product. So He moves to the next big city, Frankfurt. In 1897, Konrad develops these adaptable soles. Such a thing did not exist back then. Now it's time to go crazy and make this really big. But he does not produce shoes initially. The first successful product is the footbeds that adapt to the foot's shape. He sells these in Germany and Austria. Though selling is an exaggeration, since no one is really interested. Yo Vlad, give me some sad music.
Okay.
The problem is that Konrad is a typical engineer. He's genius when it comes to building a great product, but he sucks when it comes to marketing and selling it. And it's not just financially tough. Experts of the time also mock his new cork insoles. Orthopedics, as we know it today, doesn't exist yet. If someone has a misalignment, doctors give them a hard metal insole. This is the scientific consensus in the early 20th century. Then a shoemaker from rural Germany without medical training makes soft insoles that are supposed to adapt to the foot. Sounds crazy to most people, but before there can be any more criticism, something scary happens. Many soldiers suffer from foot injuries. Konrad's chance to test his insoles in practice and improve his medical knowledge. His wife and eldest son Karl take over the company while Konrad works in a clinic to better study foot defects. His findings prove him right. His insoles are better than the conventional metal ones.
Due to the war, millions have damaged feet, and the demand for insoles skyrockets. Luckily, a new manufacturer named Birkenstock provides soft insoles to the nation.
Everyone now knows the name Birkenstock, and to keep it that way, son Karl has a plan to make the company even more famous. He takes over the business and applies his marketing skills. He writes scientific papers about the miraculous footbeds. He equips doctors with them. He builds factories. And he passes on his knowledge to hundreds of specially trained shoemakers and shoe sellers, spreading the new way of natural walking, as he calls it. Meanwhile, a historic event massively disrupts shoe production. In 1939, World War II breaks out. People are understandably not interested in insoles during the war. However, Karl needs to pay his employees and feed his family. In 1940, he joins the Nazi Party. He tries to sell his insoles to the military, remembering that many soldiers had foot problems during World War I. But the military isn't interested in orthopedic insoles and rejects him. No one wants the insoles during the war. Since Birkenstock is not crucial for the war effort, they don't employ forced labor or benefit from the Aryanization of Jewish businesses. They are one of the few large German companies that didn't profit from the Third Reich and the war. This sounds noble today, but in the 1940s, it causes business problems. No one wants their product, and half of their top trained employees are at war. When the war ends, not only Birkenstock has problems, but the whole country does. Karl is now old, so in the mid-50s, his son Karl, with a K, takes over. 1963 brings the first shoe to the market. The first Birkenstock sandal, worked on internally for over 20 years, is finally released. The model Madrid, and the sandal quickly finds its customers. A German-American named Margaret Fraser discovers the shoes and is so enthusiastic that she starts selling them in small quantities in California from 1966. You mainly find the sandals in organic supermarkets, and since it's the 1960s, there's a large customer group, hippies. By 1970, Birkenstock has a solid product, recognized in niches. Since sandals perform well in the 70s, they release other models, like the now famous Arizona, an instant hit. Because the shoes are comfortable, the average German starts noticing them from the 80s, unlike doctors who wear them for work, or hippies who wear them for their unemployment. The average German uses them as house slippers or for gardening. House slippers or not, from a business perspective, this means growth. New production sites are built and demand for the sandals grows. Thanks to the hippies, Birkenstocks become an anti-establishment symbol. Most people wearing them publicly are left-leaning betas, but for German boomers, the sandal symbolizes bourgeoisie. So, an interesting position for a brand. More and more celebrities start wearing Birkenstock sandals, but there's a big challenge ahead. One that threatens to break the business. Unfortunately, this isn't where the brand takes off like a rocket, because when the foundation is rotten, even the best celebrity marketing stunts are useless. Karl is ready for retirement and splits the company into many parts. Probably so he can allocate them to his sons, but this isn't good. It makes it harder for the brothers to develop a unified vision for the future. Instead, they create many separate brands, all more or less based on Birkenstock's famous footbed. These are marketed through distributors and Fraser's company in the USA. But there's many problems. In the USA, Fraser's former team struggles after her retirement in 2002. She sold her distribution company to the employees, but the new owners can't agree on a strategy. And that's not all. Rivalry between the Birkenstock brothers intensifies at the same time. And there's lots of fighting. Too many cooks spoiling the broth. And over the next few years, nothing changes. Birkenstock isn't what it used to be until they meet this one man, the new protagonist of our story, the man who will change everything, a legend among legends. I mean, you get it. Christian, the youngest brother, sits in a fancy alpine resort in the fancy town of Kitzbühel one morning. He enjoys a beer and meets a huge, bearded, unemployed TV manager. Oliver Reichert, freshly fired, listens to Christian's long list of problems. These mainly involve his father and brothers. Oliver shares his own setbacks. He impresses Christian so much so that Christian hires him as a consultant right away. Remember this, folks. That's how easy it is to get a job these days. Just drink more beer in fancy places. In 2009, Christian hires Oliver at Birkenstock. The family business is a mess. Sales stagnate and there's no plan for the future. Oliver, 2 meters tall with a mighty beard and a bass voice, is far from the typical shoe company CEO. When Oliver arrives, everyone agrees. Birkenstock's magic soul, the footbed, is the heart of the company, but no one knows what to do with it. The footbed fascists, as Oliver calls the old-timers, want no changes.
It was as if the Bible was already written and we didn't need a New Testament,
Oliver says.
Then I came along, like a mix of Martin Luther, Muhammad Ali, and Napoleon.
And he gets to work immediately. Oliver tells Christian and Alex their 50-50 split doesn't work. They must either sell the shop or prepare for an IPO. Christian and Alex step back from daily operations. Bam! Oliver sorts out the company chaos. In 2013, Oliver transforms the company from 38 separate businesses into a unified structure. Bam! He becomes CEO. Phoebe Philo from Celine shocks the fashion world. She presents fur-lined sandals in Birkenstock style on the runway. Bam! Birkenstock sales go up, even though they have nothing to do with this. Apart from that, Birkenstock are marketing amateurs though. Even in the mid-2010s, Birkenstock still has no central sales or marketing department. No website, not even a Facebook page. It's all a bit amateurish for a brand of this rank and name. In 2016, a controversy makes Birkenstock famous among business case study students. A dispute with Amazon erupts when Birkenstock enters the e-commerce business. Oliver accuses Amazon of buying Birkenstocks from retailers on the platform. He claims they don't do enough against counterfeits. He even sends undercover agents to Asian factories. They secretly video record the production of fake Birkenstocks. In 2017, it's over. Birkenstock makes a power move. They announce they'll no longer sell on Amazon. Too many fake models are in circulation. It doesn't seem to hurt them much. Sales keep rising from $500 million in 2016 to $810 million in 2019. A showroom opens in Paris, right next to a Celine boutique. Birkenstock starts collaborations with luxury brands like Rick Owens and Manolo Blahnik. Suddenly, Birkenstock is affordable luxury. Not bad for a sandal, but the final ignition to become a mega corporation is still missing. Yet Oliver takes care of that in the next step. How do you make billions when you already have millions? Easy. You team up with the crown of the finance industry, private equity. In 2020, Reichert looks for a buyer. Birkenstock hires Goldman Sachs. For a while, CVC Capital Partners seems to win the race. CVC partner Alexander Dibelius thinks he has a deal to buy Birkenstock for over $4 billion. But Reichert thinks he can optimize a bit more. So, he contacts the world's richest man, Bernard Arnault, also known as the Wolf in Kashmir, the boss of LVMH. Actually, he contacts Arnault's son, Alexandre Arnault, who led Rimowa at the time. What if LVMH or LVMH, the world's largest luxury group, invests in Birkenstock? But there's a problem. LVMH focuses on exclusivity, not mass products. A solution is quickly found. In 2016, Catterton joined forces with LVMH to form L. Catterton. Maybe they can make a deal with them. In January 2021, while COVID rages, Reichert travels to Paris to meet Arnault, probably for a baguette and croissant, but that's just our guess. And then it happens. L. Catterton announces they are buying a majority stake in Birkenstock. Arnault's family holding takes an additional share. Christian and Alex Birkenstock keep minority stakes. When Arnault buys a company, he always has big plans, and he already has a precise plan to make Birkenstock huge, an IPO, going public. Last fall, Birkenstock prepares to debut on the New York Stock Exchange. They strictly follow Arnault's strategy, his secret guidebook. They raise prices and cut ties with retailers, but demand doesn't drop. In fact, even with new prices, the sandals are as popular as ever. They built a new $100 million factory in Germany. They expand old ones too. This doubles production capacity in a few years. The timing for the IPO seems perfect. The Arizona sandal makes a surprise appearance in the summer blockbuster Barbie movie. Now it's time for the stock market launch. On October 11th, Reichert appears at the New York Stock Exchange, ready to rock. Alexandre Arnault stands next to him on the balcony. He holds an Arizona sandal in the air like a sword, a real alpha move. But the mood shifts. The shares start 11% below the IPO price of $46 and keep falling. Since then, Reichert struggles to convince investors his success is just the beginning. He claims he'll increase Birkenstock's revenue by nearly 20% per year. He aims for profits similar to luxury brands. To achieve this, Birkenstock plans to enter markets in China, India and the Middle East. The theory: plastic shoes do well in hot, humid weather. They also want to expand their winter collection. Yes, they have one. And play with artificial scarcity. But will it all be enough? Nobody knows. But one thing's certain: to drive up stock prices, you need to speak the language of investors. And Reichert finally does this on May 30th. He raises profit targets for the year. Until then, the stock moved sideways. But from May, it finally goes up. The stock has its best trading day, rising over 20% since the IPO. Reichert says it's going much higher from here. His quote, when asked about growth limits: "I promise when we reach this limit, I won't be on this planet anymore." He pauses. "But I tell you, it'll keep going for another 250 years.